Hi and welcome. I hope you got yourself a cup of something hot to drink because this week we're going to talk about productivity and undertaking core activities for your business. So, I've already previously spoken about the fact that as a business owner, your job really is to sell, to market, and to lead your business, and everything else can be outsourced. But there are activities around sales, marketing, and leadership that you need to undertake. And sometimes we can get bogged down in these activities and allocate the wrong amounts of time to these particular activities. So to kick things off, let's have a look at what these activities are. And there are four core activities that I want to go through today. And then I'm going to introduce you to the productivity pyramid, which is a result of some of the research I've done. And I've put together a model which I'd like to share with you. And I hope you get some benefit from it because I'm going to be applying the same model to myself, and of course I'll keep you abreast of how I go. Alright, so let's kick off. The first core activity I want to talk about is selling. When you're working on your business as opposed to in your business, you should really be responsible for your sales, and that's following up the leads, closing new business, upselling, cross-selling. This is really the lifeblood of your business, as it's a common saying that sales is the lifeblood of any business, and it's true. Without sales, you don't get money, and without that money, you're doing a hobby, not really running a business. And since we're about business here, it's important that you undertake the activity of selling. It's a core activity. The second core activity is marketing. Now, I'm all about marketing, and I love marketing. And as a copywriter, marketing is quite fundamental to what my business is about. But marketing essentially is about attracting new people to your business, about retaining your existing customer base, and building relationships. So it could be at golf days, it could be at networking events, you could be having a dinner party for your top clients, it could be at a trade show or an expo or any other event or any other activity that attracts people to you or keeps your existing customer base on board. And you do that by a process of building relationships with them. The third core activity of any business that a business owner should be undertaking is managing the business. And in managing the business, this is about leadership, okay? So this is about leading your business. And that means you have to lead your staff. You have to make sure that bills are paid, invoices are sent out, supplies are managed, rosters are up to date. You have to be constantly on top of your emails, and there's definitely a lot of paperwork and administration that goes into that. The fourth part is learning, and I think learning is an important activity. See, when you're in business, people come to you because you're an expert in what you do, right? So if you're a doctor, you need to be learning about the latest treatments, the latest medicines, the alternatives that are available for your patients. So if you're one of these forward-thinking doctors that can come up with the latest treatments and tell your clients or your patients about them, then as a doctor, you're going to be a leader in your industry because you're on top of your game. If you're a toy shop owner, then you want to know what the latest products out there that kids are craving and really wanting and nagging their mum and dads to get them for their birthdays or for Christmas. You need to learn constantly to be on top of your game. And as a business owner, this is a core leadership activity. This is part of your job as a leader, is that you need to be ahead of the game. The thing, though, is that when people are undertaking these activities, they really get bogged down in them, and sometimes they allocate the wrong amount of time to the wrong activity. And this is where I'd like to introduce you to the productivity pyramid. Okay, so let me talk to you about this pyramid. This triangle or this pyramid is 100% of time that you spend on your business. Now, we're not talking about being in your business because that's where you're doing all the technical side of things. But this is about being on your business where you're leading it and driving revenue, and you're responsible for the sales and the marketing. So if this triangle or this pyramid represents 100% of your time, I want to divide that time up. Okay, so I'm just drawing out some segments, and we're going to label them as being segments of time. So there's 10% of your time, 20% of your time, 30% of your time, and 40% of your time. Now, I know we could go into 25% into minor percentages, but I'm looking at rough figures here, and I'm looking at also best practice as well. So let's have a look and bear with me as we go forward. So out of the activities, if I just go back and talk about these core activities, our job is now to allocate these against the productivity pyramid. So let's take these activities and let's map them against this pyramid. And I'm going to use myself as an example here. Okay, so here's how I mapped myself. How much of my time do I spend selling, marketing, managing, and learning? And I wrote it next to this, and this is how it panned out. Okay, so I spend 10% of the time selling. Look, I have new business that gets referred to me. I have repeat clients. I have people who'll come back to me to do business. So I don't really have to pick up the phone and cold call as much, or I don't have to really go out there and do hardcore sales pitches. I do have to do them, but there's just not that many of them. So I only spend about 10% of my time selling. I do spend a fair bit of time learning, and that's learning what's happening out there in the industry. Now, being an online copywriter and specializing in the digital space, I need to know what's happening in SEO, search engine marketing, and advertising, the latest technologies that are out there, and how we can incorporate that into copywriting. I need to see what's happening with my peers in the copywriting industry. So my fellow copywriters, what are they up to? So that's all important to me. And I do spend a fair bit of time learning and researching so I can deliver the best possible service to my clients, right? Then marketing is where I spend 30% of my time, and it's a fair chunk of time. I spend marketing, so that's writing blogs, writing articles, writing newsletters, creating videos, and anything else that basically puts me in front of my customer, both current as well as future. And then I actually spend a fair chunk of time managing the business. Okay, and I do. I've got a lot of time that I spend, and 40% is about accurate, that I spent managing the business. Okay, and that's everything from managing my designers, managing my developers, my programmers, managing my bills. I've got to speak to my accountant or different planners or legal people or whatever it may be. I've got to manage all of these people, and I've got to manage my bills. I've got to keep the lights on. I've got to make sure that all the paperwork's complete, and like everyone else, I have emails to check too, and a lot of them. In fact, sometimes I have too many of them. So email management is a big thing for me, but that all comes down into managing and leading my business. So that's how I allocated my time. What would be a useful exercise is if you took a pen and paper right now and just wrote down how you allocate your time. I'm going to pause for a little while and give you a minute to do that. So you can let this video keep playing. I'm going to pause for 1 minute, and then I'm going to come back to you. Alright guys, so go get yourself a pen and paper and draw out this pyramid and allocate for yourself where you are applying yourself. Where do you spend time selling? Where do you spend time learning? How much time do you spend marketing? How much time do you spend managing? And see what type of results you got. Okay, so I'm going to give you a minute. Go ahead now. Okay, so we've got about 30 seconds left. Let's see how you're going. Okay, we've got about 10 seconds left now. And that's time. Okay, if you need a little bit longer, just hit pause and then come back to me. Okay, so I'm going to assume that we're all done. So let's wipe the slate clean. Okay, and let me show you how you should be actually allocating your time. Okay, again, this has come from research, and the type of people that I will cite as sources are people like Tim Ferriss, the famous author of The 4 Hour Workweek, Eben Pagan, who's an information guru, and he's quite adept in productivity and time management, as well as other people that I've spoken with, attended workshops, and done my own reading as well. So while I'm putting this together, I've created the model. I've done the research from a number of different sources. So I just wanted to acknowledge them and let you know that this is a combination effort. It's not just all 100% my ideas. I do have some credible productivity sources that I am drawing this information from. So, okay, let's keep moving. I'm going to do this in a slightly different order, okay? So we're going to go from the bottom up. Where should we be spending the majority of our time? And that answer is here, marketing. Now, people who know me are going to say, okay, yeah, that's just typical of you, but actually it's not typical of me. Again, this is from the research that I've done. If you spend 40% of your time marketing, making people aware of your service, making your existing customers aware of anything new that you're offering, constantly providing value to your current and future client base, then you only really need to be spending 20% of your time selling. Okay, so I'll fill this out next. So the more you market, you proportionally need to be selling that much, right? So let me explain that statement because it may have come across as a bit vague. So if you're going to spend a lot of time marketing, if you market well enough, you only need to spend about half of that time roughly closing sales. Remember the definition of sales that I was talking about. It's closing new business, it's following up, it's upselling, it's cross-selling. So that's the sales process. I'm not talking about cold calling or flyer dropping or knocking on doors or networking or anything like that. That's actually a marketing activity. So let's just get that distinction pretty clear. When I'm talking about sales, we're talking about closing business, we're talking about following up, and we're talking about upselling and cross-selling, and that's pretty much it. It's bringing the cash in. It's that last step before the paperwork is signed and the money is handed over to you. That's what I consider a selling activity. Okay, so if you spend 40% of your time marketing and 20% of your time selling, this may come as a surprise to some people, but you really only need to be spending 30% of your time managing your business. So for some people that may be a lot, for some people that may be a little less, right? So what I've done is to make it simple, I've actually split it up. You need to spend 10% of your time managing your people, whether that's your staff or sometimes even managing your suppliers, your customers. You need to spend 10% of your time planning. Okay, so there's a great saying out there, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. Planning is an important part of your business. You need to be able to schedule appointments and you need to be able to block out time to get certain activities done. So on a weekly basis or even a few hours a week, if you're planning your events and planning your networking meetings and planning your golf days and planning your marketing and sales activities, and not just your sales activities, but every other activity that needs to be completed so that you can perform effectively in your business, that is time well invested. Okay, so 10% of your time should go into planning, and you should be impeccable about your calendar management. Not accepting every single invite that comes your way, making sure that meetings that are sent to you have a clear agenda attached to them. And likewise, when you're sending out meetings, make sure that it's a very clear agenda so time's not wasted. Okay, and the remaining 10% needs to go into paperwork. And I've put people planning and paperwork because the 3 P's are easy to remember. But with paperwork, I'm talking things like administration. Okay, and email can also fall into that. Paying bills, sending out invoices, and sending out receipts. All of that comes under paperwork. It's the administration. Your email should also come under that too. Okay, so that should make life a little bit easier, which leaves the remaining 10% for learning. Okay, so only 10% of your time really needs to be spent learning, and that's where you need to start being a little bit more discerning about what information you take in. See, the problem with today's world is that we have so much information out there. So much information. Sometimes it's a job in itself just to sort through that. So you need to be more discerning about the information that you review, because that information needs to be in the form of adding value to you and your business, right? in the form of learning. And that's really what we're talking about. So you don't need to read every single email that comes your way, but you do need to know which emails will contain important items. And you can do that by setting up rules and filters and flags and markers in your email. Depending on which email system you use, they've got different ways of sorting and prioritizing emails. So you need to really spend 10% of your time learning. Let me translate all of this into a 40-hour week. I'm using 40 hours. I know that some people will work less and some people will work more, but I'm using 40 as the standard working week. Okay, so that's 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. And as I said, I know some people work 6 days a week, some people work 3 days a week. That's all fine. This is really just a baseline. It's a baseline metric. So on a 40-hour week, let's translate this into hours. Let's give yourself 4 hours a week to learn. Okay, let's give yourself 8 hours a week to complete sales activities. Give yourself 12 hours a week to managing your business. So that's 4 hours for people, 4 hours for planning, and 4 hours for paperwork. And then give yourself 16 hours a week for managing your marketing. Okay, and going out and actually building relationships. Looking at seeing how you can acquire new people and customers for your business. Looking at how you can provide value to your existing customers to keep them on board and retain them. These are all activities that are highly important. Now, I don't know if when you completed this exercise, whether or not you actually matched this exactly as it was, or whether, like me, you got things a bit in a different order, but this is optimal. This is really core. This is really key. If you're able to follow this pattern, then I'm pretty sure, in fact, I'm going to do this myself to prove that this will make a difference to the way business is done. What about everything else? Well, anything else that doesn't fall into these 4 core activities, you have to be extra discerning about. You have to be extra judgmental about whether or not you want to take that on as an activity, or whether or not you're going to outsource it. Okay, so as a little bit of an extra bonus, I've put a little cheat sheet together, and you can download that as a PDF and print it off and put it on your wall to serve as a bit of a reminder, or you can make notes on it, or you could share it with other people in your business as well, and other business colleagues. And I'm more than happy for you to forward this video and the cheat sheet onto them so that they can get value from it too. In fact, I highly encourage that. If you do give it to other people in your business, have them do this productivity pyramid exercise as well. And those who are key decision makers and key partners in your business, you might be able to help them and set them straight on the best way to be running their business. Obviously, it's not about trying to teach people how to suck eggs, but if you were to allocate 40 hours and really make the most of your 40 hours, this would be the best way to do it. All right? So, give that a go. See how you go with it. I'd be curious to take your feedback. Of course, give me a call if you have any questions. Drop me an email if you have any questions as well. Comment on my blog. Just get in touch with me if I can help out in any way, or if you have any feedback or any comments to make. I'm open to listening to them. So great. Look, have a great week ahead of you. I hope this has been valuable, and I look forward to speaking with you when we catch up next. All right. See you later. Enjoy your week. Bye.